Hey guys, and welcome to a very special episode of Biscuit Vlogs. Uh, just before I go any further, I just want to throw this out there that this will most likely be kind of a long one. I don't exactly know how long I'm about to go because I didn't really write any notes for myself or anything. I'm just gonna kind of going off the handle. But so if you don't want to stick around for the whole thing, that's cool too. I'm going to go ahead and say thank you right now for getting me to my first 100 subscribers. I totally 100% appreciate it. And I hope you stick around for the thousands and thousands more that are going to come. So yeah. Now that that's out of the way, I no longer have to make the formal announcement that as of last week, I officially broke 100 subscribers. And I was sitting around. I've been sitting around since I started this channel, thinking, what would I do? What should I do when I reach my first milestone? And I think that first milestone could have been any number. Just what made me feel like it was a milestone. And to me personally, this feels like I've finally taken that first step onto the ladder. So it's you might be looking at it and saying 100 subscribers really isn't that much, which it isn't. We are a small army, but an army nonetheless. So I get that, but I think it's still really really important to me. Like I said, it kind of validates that I'm going forward. You know what I mean? It's a little step at a time, and again, I really appreciate you guys. You guys are fucking amazing. You guys who come to every stream, every day, even the one that wasn't supposed to be a stream, you guys came to and hung out, and you guys are fucking awesome. Yeah, there's no words to really describe how I feel at this point. That I'm actually, again, it's small, but that I'm actually going forward and doing something. So like I said, I was. Since I started the channel, I've always been wondering to myself, almost every day, when I get to a milestone, what kind of a video should I do? What should I say? I've been tossing around ideas, and the thing that kept popping up in my head most was the fact that, especially earlier on, back in between September and November, when I first really started. Even now, we've gotten really close with each other. We've discussed each other's lives. You guys tell me all about your lives. Who's in a shitty mood, who's tired of taking these medications for whatever illness they happen to have. I'm not naming names. I'm just I'm generalizing. Who's married, who's doing this, who got a new job, all these things. We've gotten so close. And I've told you, little bits of where I'm at in terms of my entire life. Outside of YouTube. You guys, I know you guys know at this point that YouTube is my thing, that I've basically recentered my life around building this. So you guys know that much. But you don't really know too much else, So I figured if you guys would be so kind as to sit around and listen to the ramblings of a mad YouTuber, I figured, why not just kind of tell what my story, where I'm up to at this point in life. Of course, with many omissions and, abridged as possible. So I'm going to start with, you guys have known, well, not for too long, but I mentioned on a stream a couple of days ago that I did indeed have a YouTube channel in the past that I wound up giving up on. That channel, I'm not going to name its name. I know there are one or two people watching right now that definitely know what I'm talking about, but I will not name its name. That channel got just over 200 subscribers. And to get those subscribers, it took me about I'd say between 5 and 6 years, which is a long time for 200 subscribers, which is one of the reasons I feel like I'm doing way better this time around. And what you really got to remember here is, for me right now, it's 2008. I was a high school dropout with no job and no GED. So you can imagine the vast amount of resources I had available to me. So the reasons I think that my first channel never did well, or as well as I wanted it to, were probably multifaceted. Well, first of all, it was, by the time I had started doing Let's Play channels, I had that channel since like YouTube's inception, and I was just uploading a bunch of random bullshit because I was a teenager and that's what I felt like doing. So I had a lot of random shit just on that channel. It wasn't, organized or maybe it wasn't video game centric. So it took a while for me to like bury all those videos and remove a lot of them. So that was one of the reasons. Another reason was, at least to me, I'm kind of a perfectionist with the videos that I produce. And what I mean by that is I want my video and audio quality to sound the way I want them to sound. I always feel like it could be a little bit better. If it doesn't look and sound the way I want it to, I've been known to delete like several hours of footage because it wasn't quite up to par. So that's why I would get discouraged a lot. So I would record a whole bunch of stuff at the time, and then I would watch it all back and be like, oh, this is so disgusting, I'm not uploading this. You know what I mean? When looking back on it now, in reality, I should have just thrown it up there and be like, you know what, let's do it. And just, let's see what sticks. But that's how I was. So, compounded on top of that, me wanting to make everything the way I wanted it to be, it didn't help that, like I said, I had no job, no money. So the equipment that I had at my disposal was very limited. I was using a desktop PC that I had owned at that point. We're talking 2007, 2008-ish, around there. I had owned at that point since 2001. And I always remember what year I got that computer because I had gotten it as a Christmas present. It was the only thing I wanted. I wanted because I had an iMac at the time, and I hated it. And I just wanted a Windows PC. And I was just so fucking happy that I had gotten one. So yeah, that computer stood with me for a long time. That computer was a trooper. It was a beast when it came out. It was just, fast forward to 2007, 2008. It was no longer the beast it once was. That's life with computers. But so you look at that, and being in the position I was in, so that was, I couldn't, if I wanted a better computer, that wasn't going to happen. So it made recording games very, very difficult. I didn't know what a capture card was at the time. I didn't know you could plug a console into a little box that could plug into your computer and do that. I didn't know about that, because you got to understand, at the time, this really wasn't common knowledge. And the people who, at least in my experience, the people who I watched on YouTube who were doing it at the time, really didn't discuss how they did it that much. I mean, I imagine they got plenty of messages asking, how you do it, what's, your equipment and stuff. And I sent a few messages to a few people. I was like, I'm just curious about like your computer specs or whatever. So I had something to kind of like shoot for. You know what I mean? So yeah, it wasn't something that was widely spoken about. So you had to go away from YouTube, Google it, and it took a lot of, to be honest, it took a lot of research to figure out how to just do the basic stuff, like being able to record my microphone at the time. Which, here's another interesting story about that. Funny. Like I said, due to my lack of equipment and funds to get better equipment, the only microphone I had to work with at the time was this really old, like 90s desktop microphone that I had gotten from my friend. That it always sat in my house. I never used it. I never recorded my voice really for anything. It kind of just sat on the desk. And it didn't even have a proper mic stand. The stand that it clipped into basically made it as low as the desk. So it wasn't even pointed at at my mouth or anything. It was just flat on the desk, as flat as it could possibly be. Like a tiny little stand. And I remember I was racking my brain for days trying to figure out, what can I do? This is the only microphone I have. So I need to find a way to be able to use that microphone to record myself once I figured out how to get it to work, software wise. So I'm like, what the fuck am I going to do? And I'm sitting in the room with the computer in the chair. I'm staring at the monitor. I'm looking around the whole desk. And my eyes kind of veer off a little bit. And I notice sitting next to the monitor is an old Bluetooth headset from one of my mom's older cell phones that she didn't use anymore. And I was like, So I run in the other room and I get some Scotch tape. And I take the desktop mic and I Scotch tape it to the Bluetooth. And then I just put the Bluetooth on my ear. Voila, I made a makeshift headset. I felt so fucking awesome that I had done that. It was working. Obviously, I couldn't hear anything out of it because I was just using the mic. But I was able to have the mic on my person close to my mouth so he could pick me up. And I still had my hands free to play the game, or whatever needed to be done. And I was like, oh my God, I fucking did it. Again, needless to say, the quality of that mic was extremely subpar. I sounded like I was on AM radio, But, I was just doing some stuff I wanted to do, especially at the time when I had nothing else to really do with my time to occupy myself. So, after a while, at first it really didn't pick up traction. I don't know why. I didn't really promote it. I didn't know how to promote a YouTube channel. For one reason or another, just never, it never picked up. So I would slow down uploading videos. Sometimes you would only get like a couple a month, maybe like 1 or 2 a month. Sometimes not at all. Sometimes I just wouldn't upload anything for months at a time. Because it was just really, what started out as something that was fun and that, I really enjoyed doing became really, because it's just the way I am. I got really depressed that, I put in a lot of work so far. It's not doing anything. It's just the way I felt. And, I could have stuck with it a little bit better. But anyway, and I also wanted to play other games, some newer, just different other games that I couldn't do because of my computer setup and, having an old computer with really, really shitty specs for the time. So that kind of hindered what I could do. I was basically limited to doing Super Nintendo games, which I love, don't get me wrong. The Super Nintendo is probably my favorite console of all time, so that was a good thing. But I wanted to have a variety. I wanted to do everything I could possibly do. That's why, the things that I do now on the channel, I do everything from, a game that may have come out yesterday to a game that's 25 years old. I just, whatever I feel like playing that day, that's always how I wanted to do it. And I've always, I couldn't do it at the time. So every so often I'd upload a video of me playing a Super Nintendo game. I'd get through a couple parts and then I'd give up again and, this, that, and the other. So eventually now, we fast forward to 2010, the summer, when I finally get a job. So yeah, I was hanging around for a long time. So I finally get a job at a supermarket. And I was like, you know what? This is actually going to work out great for me because I could just use this money and I could start building up, I could buy a computer, I could do, microphones, all the stuff that I have to buy, I can now acquire and eventually use all that to do what I want to do, So the first thing I did, about 2 months into that job, maybe a little less, I went to Dell.com and applied for Dell credit. Boom, I accepted immediately. I had a credit card. I was like, fuck yeah. So I bought an Alienware laptop. And I was fucking stoked. Because it was, first of all, it's the first gaming PC I ever had. Like, the first legit. I wanted to buy an Alienware, my whole life. Since I discovered what Alienware was in the early 2000s. I had always wanted one. So it was like a childhood dream come true for me, So I get this laptop, and I start doing stuff. I start trying to record stuff, and it even that, because it was a mid-range laptop, it wasn't, it had a 1 gig video card, which is, for 2010, mid-range. It's respectable. It wasn't, steroids. So, like, one of the things I wanted to do was, like, I didn't have a capture card, so I wanted to do a PS2 game. So I needed to record the PS2 emulator. Problem was, the PS2 emulator took up so many fucking resources in my computer that I still couldn't do it. So I would get discouraged again. But I would find other games to play. There was plenty of games. I was not that limited at all. There was plenty of games that I could record and play for my channel. And I was happy. I was able to do things. And then, when the problem was that especially for the first couple of years of that job, I was working 50 hours a week, which is good, making money. But it left me, like no time to do what I wanted to do. So I had one day off a week. I would basically stay in the bed the entire day. I would go to sleep. I would try to stay up late the night before to either do something or just to get a little free time to myself. But I usually wouldn't make it past 11 or midnight, sometimes 1 if I was lucky, and then I just pass out. And by the time I woke up, it'd be 2:30 in the afternoon. I'd watch some TV. Before you know it, it was dinner time. And then it's like, oh, fuck, I got to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning to be at work tomorrow. I'm going to bed. That's basically what it was. Which, again, not knocking it. I was working. I was doing what I had to do. So, I would do YouTube videos, but very few and far in between. Because, like I said, I'd come home, I'd be so exhausted. Like, especially if it was a work night, and I didn't have off the next day, I'd be so exhausted, I'd just lay there. And sometimes I'd get a video done. Sometimes I'd get 2. Most of the time, I wouldn't get anything done. So it was very hard for me to do, to get the time to do the things that I wanted to do with my YouTube channel, and So that was call it, I guess you could call it an excuse, but that was what was going on with me at the time. I couldn't get myself to do it. I just couldn't do it. I had no energy to do anything. I would work, sleep. That wasn't my entire life. I stopped hanging out with my friends because I only had one day off, and on that one day off, I wanted to sleep. I was doing nothing but working. It was horrible, So, a few years into that job, things start to happen. Hours change and stuff. My schedule changes around a little bit. So I have a little bit more time now to do videos. So I start doing them again, when I can, and uploading here and there. Again, not adhering to any schedule because my work schedule was so sporadic. I didn't know when I was going to have the time to do it. So I never posted a video that was like, all right, guys, check it out. I upload on these days, or I do this on these days. I never had the time to do that. It would be completely sporadic. So it was very hard for the people that did subscribe to me to actually keep up and follow me at the time, because I didn't know, so they didn't know. So it never, nobody ever watched anything because they didn't know if it was, if I was uploading that month or whatever it was, So as much as I was getting a little bit more done, it was at completely random times, and I didn't know, when I was releasing them and all that. So eventually, I would upload videos, 45 minutes, an hour of me playing whatever. And over weeks, I would check how many views that those videos would get. Like every day, I would refresh, And over a few weeks, they would only manage to get like 10 or 15 views, if that much. Like sometimes it's like 5 and stuff like that, and that would just kill me. It's like I'm going crazy, and I know I'm not. It's part of it is because I'm not here 100% of the time. I get that, but I just wish that it was going better, and again, it discouraged me once again, and I would stop again for, inexplicable amounts of time. Nobody would know. Sometimes I would throw up a video out of nowhere, and then that'd be it for the next 3 months, So yeah, it was going like that, and for the next, let's see here, 5 years. About 5 years. So you fast forward to this year. In August, I received another job offer through a friend. So I said, okay, I'll take this job. It was, believe it or not, I was making the exact same pay just with more hours than I was making at the supermarket job. So I was like, all right, I'll go. I'll do this. I worked there my first day. Come home. My dad's like, oh, how was it? I didn't like it. It was I was working at an animal hospital. I was the animal handler in the back. I walked all the dogs, that kind of stuff. So yeah, I told my dad, I was like, I'm not enjoying it. I mean, it was only one day. I was like, which is what I said. I was like, I'll give it another shot. I mean, you never know. Maybe it's just, new job jitters, all that stuff. So what happened was, I came to the decision that I wasn't going to take the job. Right? So I tell my parents, I'm like, that's it. I don't like the job. I'm not going to take it. I'll look for something else. And see, at this point, I had been looking and looking and looking for a job, trying to get out of the job I was in, because the job I was in at that point was straight hell. So my parents' immediate reaction was, well, no, you have to take that job. You have no choice. I mean, I wasn't making any money at the job I was in. And I was basically stuck. The job itself had driven me into debt. First of all, the supermarket job. I opened credit cards that in the beginning I had no trouble paying, and then due to hour cuts and all that stuff, I was no longer able to pay my bills. So, well, my credit was born and shot within a couple of years because of the job. So, my parents were like, you have to. You need, at least you'll be getting more hours at this place. I was like, yeah, but I'm just not feeling the job, which I know is a bullshit excuse. But it's, and again, nobody likes their job. You're not supposed to like it. It's a job. So, after I had that whole argument with my parents, I was sitting around, I was thinking, maybe I am just being a bitch. Maybe I should just bite the bullet and do it. Eventually, it'll all work out. So the next day, even though my parents already think I'm not taking the job, I go to my supermarket job. I just go up to my boss. I'm like, listen, I quit. He's like, okay. And it was just like that. That's exactly how it was. I was like, I quit. He goes, okay. I said, I'm going to work here till Sunday. He goes, okay. And that was it. So I worked a few days of that week, and I didn't even bother finishing the week. I was like, you know what? I don't even care anymore. So I started the new job, and a week into it, I don't know what, I couldn't do it. I knew I shouldn't have taken it. I did it not because I wanted to, but because I figured I was doing, in the big picture, I was doing the right thing for me. You know what I mean? And eventually it would wind up paying off down the line. And, yeah, so a weekend I wasn't feeling right. I wasn't sleeping anymore. I couldn't do it. So, one morning I didn't sleep at all. 6 o'clock in the morning rolls around. My dad wakes up. He's like, you going to work? I'm like, no. He's like, what do you mean? He's like, as soon as they open, I'm going to call and tell them. Like, so, that's what I did. I quit, and I immediately fell into this, this depression, really, because I remember before I got the supermarket job, like I said, I was doing, absolutely nothing aside from YouTube for so long, and I had no money. I was like, that's life again for me now. And now, I had to worry about my, cell phone being turned off, not being able to pay my bill. I wasn't worried, like I said, about all my other debts because my job already took care of those. But, I was just like for about a week, I just basically laid on the bed and did nothing, But see, before that had happened, about a week before was when Biscuit Basher, this channel, came into existence. And I had done one live stream, I think, where I was playing H1Z1 with my friends. And people actually came and watched and were like, dude, you're awesome. I'm gonna subscribe and I'm gonna hang around. So it had already started before this whole job thing. So after about that initial week, I was like, you know what? I'm here now. I've always wanted to do the YouTube thing. I have nothing on my hands but time. I owe it to myself to throw my all into the YouTube thing and give myself a real shot because it's what I've always wanted to do. So that's what I did. And, well, basically, here we are. Except for one little thing. In about the middle of October, I was offered a full-time job by a family member, and I turned it down. I said, you know what? I'd rather focus on what I'm doing and have to either, take side jobs or freelance jobs and have more time to focus on what I'm doing, and in the end, be happier than what I would be just getting a full-time job. And I'm not saying that it was a bad idea, because it was a really, really good job. Don't get me wrong. But I would always be left wondering if I did that. I know I would always be left wondering, well, what happened? What would have happened if I had just done YouTube? And that's not to say I couldn't have done it while I was working, but like I just explained to you guys, the first time I tried to do that, at least for me, that's the way my brain works. It wasn't working for me. I would just come home, go sleep. You know what I mean? And again, this job would be different. I'd have my normal weekend off and stuff. But still, I was like, you know what? No. This is how I'm going to do it. And that caused another little argument with my parents, but eventually we got past it. And yeah, here we are now at officially breaking 100 subscribers. And again, that might not seem like that much at all to you. It might seem like absolutely nothing. But that's what I was trying to tell you in the beginning. It's absolutely everything to me, because like I told you about my first channel, I have something to go on. I'm comparing it to the last channel I started, which never went anywhere, admittedly. And I see that I'm experiencing growth. Now, do I know how long that growth is going to last and how big the Biscuit Army is going to get? Of course not. I can't predict those kind of things. But, you have to take a risk. If you don't risk anything, you don't gain anything. You just sit still. And I just have this vision of a way of life that I want to live. And this seems to be the best way to live that life. And I think I owe it to myself to throw my all into it, So, like I've said it on stream before, that's what I'm doing. I completely refocused my life. I recentered everything. YouTube is my main goal. And, to keep myself afloat, safety nets are in place. I have a couple of side jobs. I take whatever freelance work I can get, which my hands are in a few things. So, I'm able to live a little bit, eat. But I think, that's how it's got to be. I always compare it to starting any other business, I was telling this to my grandfather a few days ago. Guy gets up one day, says, what I've always wanted to do is, I think I make a damn good fucking sandwich. I'm opening up a deli. I think I'd do great. So, guy looks at his bank account. All right, fuck, I don't have all the cash I would need to open this deli. Guy goes to the bank, gets his loan, opens up the deli. Right? Gets everything sorted out. Now, once you open up that deli, you don't hire 5 people and then leave the deli and go do another job, right? You stay in that deli, and you're there every day in, day out, doing what you need to do to make sure your business succeeds, so that you secure your own future. You know what I mean? You're there day in and day out. If you just hire a bunch of people to work the deli and then you leave and go do something else, like let's say you just apply for a regular full-time job for whatever the reasons are. Let's say you do that. You're not going to be there for your business, and you can't. You need to be in charge and know what's going on. You know what I mean? So that's how I look at it. Again, that's me. I don't know if that's how everybody looks at it, but that's where I am. And it was more than that. It was more than just seeing, you guys coming to the shows and enjoying the shows. And this is where I'm gonna get a tiny little bit sappy, I think. So it was in September. It was one of the earlier live streams I did. It was within the first few weeks. I wish I could remember his name. I apologize, but somebody came into stream who is subscribed now, and we started talking about how he's aspiring to be a musician. That's what he wants to do, and he at the time he was looking into getting all his equipment and doing what he needs to do. And I told him, I was like, look, man, starting anything is hard. You know what I mean? Especially making it in one of the entertainment industries. It's very, very difficult. It's probably going to be the hardest thing you ever do. But if you truly believe in it, it'll never feel like work, because you're going to be working to do something that you've always wanted to do, and you're always going to be looking at that goal, so you know where you're headed. You know what I mean? And I told him a story about how back when I was a teenager, I used to roadie for a friend's band of mine. They were like all over the state. Good times as a teenager. But through that I would always meet all different kind of guys from different bands and stuff. And I would always talk to them, before the show or after the show when we're all chilling, And I told them, they all had, vastly different stories about where they came from and what they're doing with their lives and this, that, and the other. But there was always one constant that seemed to pop up. And that was that as hard as what they were doing were, working for sometimes pennies a night, sometimes nothing at all, getting stiffed by promoters, and, being forced to sell tickets to their these promoters' venues on their behalf. Aside from all that bullshit that they went through, sometimes people, you get your van broken into, you get your equipment stolen, all that bullshit that they had to go through. They're still fucking chin up and happy as all fuck, because they're working towards a dream. They are living the dream. As fucked up as it is in the present, they still have a goal to work toward. And it's what they want to do, and it's what they're going to do. And again, as hard as it is, eventually, you keep working at it, it'll produce fruits. So, that's what I told him, and he was like, I paraphrased a little bit, but that's what I told him. And he's like, you know what? That's like some of the most inspirational shit I've ever heard. I was like, yeah, I think it's very important to do what you want to do in this life, because you don't want to end up as that guy or that woman in your 50s, your 60s, your 70s, sitting on that couch watching reruns of your favorite show, which is fine. We all do that. But, watching reruns of your favorite show, just going, man, I wish I was in that band. I wish I had started that band I wanted to start. I wish I had opened that auto body shop I wanted to open, or, whatever it is that you wanted to do. You don't want to be that person in your 50s, 60s, 70s saying, I wish I would have done that. And it's very important, I think, to find what it is that you want to do that fulfills you. That doesn't just give you a paycheck, because, yeah, you need the paycheck. But that doesn't just give you a paycheck, but at the same time fulfills you and makes you feel like you're actually doing something worthwhile with your time. I think it's very important. And, my mother always told me when I was growing up, those exact words, you got to find what makes you happy. I'm running out of breath here. You got to find what makes you happy, and you got to stick to it. Whatever that is, nobody can tell you what that is. Only you can figure that out, because it's different for everybody. Everybody has their thing that they're supposed to do, that they will figure out, that they will do. And you need to do that. You need to figure out what that is and figure out what you need to do to make that happen for yourself. And, maybe YouTube doesn't appear to my parents to be a thing. But that's neither here or there. I firmly believe in that. And I try to tell it to people all the time during the live streams, when we're talking back and forth. I say it all the time. Make sure you're doing what you want to do. Because if you're not, you're going to be that person that middle-aged person going to that 9 to 5 every day, which is not a bad thing. You're earning your paycheck. You're living. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying if you're not doing what you love and you've always wanted to do something different, if you don't do it, you're gonna end up as that person at that 9 to 5 every single day, just hating everything. That's why people commit suicide right there. That's the kind of stress that slowly eats away at you and in the end will kill you, I think. And after I had this conversation, going back to that live stream I was telling you about with this guy in this viewer, it reminded me of something. It reminded me of I don't know if you know who this YouTuber is. He's a guy named Juwario. He was really popular for a few. I watched him for a long time. Never got to meet the guy at any conventions or anything, but in 2014 he wound up committing suicide, which was ridiculously tragic. I don't think I've ever felt that bad about somebody I didn't know dying before. It was crazy. I just nobody saw it coming. If you don't know who he is and you didn't hear about it. So again, if you didn't know who he was, he happened to be a really, really nice person. Like, he was the kind of person who, if you didn't know him and you walked up to him to say hi, he would just hug the shit out of you. That's the kind of nice he was. Not that I knew him, but from all the convention videos and stuff you would see, and he a lot of times in his videos he tried to bring that across, in his work, and to remind everybody how important the fans were to him too. He did that in his work, like constantly in his videos, kind of like, I guess, the way I do. But anyway, after he had died, this video became popular of a live stream he had done the last few minutes. He gave this little speech at the end, and I always it really, that's one of the main things in life that keeps me going. The words that he said, and it was at that moment when I had this exchange with that guy that I realized that I could try, at least in my own way, to bring his message forward. You know what I mean? So even though somebody is gone, I mean, not that I'm worthy of doing that, but that I could help in a little tiny way to help bring that inspiration to maybe somebody else. I didn't know I was capable of doing that until that one stream, and it's happened several times since, where people hear me say things and they respond in that way. And those are the things that make me realize that, what I'm doing here is a good thing, regardless of how it's just a bunch of us sitting around playing video games. You know what I mean? There's an added layer to it that I think a lot of people don't see. And that's what that one conversation made me see. And that's what, in the end, made me turn down that job in October, because I realized that, what? As funny as it may seem, I think that's what I'm supposed to do. And so I would repeat what his words were in that video that got famous, but I don't think I could say them any better than he did. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave you with the actual video of his. But before I do that, one more time, I just want to say thank you so much for sticking with me this far. I know it's a small, tiny milestone, and we have so many more milestones to get past, so many more mountains to climb, and this was only a molehill. But I know together we're going to do it. I have faith in myself. I have faith in you guys. The Biscuit Army gets bigger every day. We're all in this together. I'm telling you now. My promise to you guys is that I am here to stay. And, I said it a million times over. I am doing this. This is going to happen. So, with all that being said, as always, I love you guys. I will see you on the next live stream. And with that, I leave you with the great Juwario.
You know what? I want you all to look at me. I want you all to look at me. I want you to, because what I'm about to say is important. I think. I've been thinking about this a lot lately. And I want y'all to know this. This goes out to everybody. You're not stupid. Okay? You're not stupid. Don't ever tell yourself that you are. You're important. What you have in your head may not mean a lot to a lot of people, but it's what makes you special. You are important. You mean something. And you're going to go out there and you're going to do some wonderful things. But first and foremost, you're not stupid. You're not an idiot. Don't ever tell yourself that you are. And if nobody else ever tells you this, I will tell you this. I care about you. Thank you for coming to my stream today.